Hi, boss babes of South Africa. My name is Varashni Pillay. I am a journalist and editor who's worked at major South African newsrooms and decided to start my own publication and business, which was a terrifying endeavor. And yet, it is one way that you can own your power as a boss babe. And I'd love to share my secrets on how you can do that. So, for years, I worked for the man in various jobs, and often I was put in charge of things that were outside of my control. I was often in toxic work environments with toxic bosses, not all the time, but enough for it to have counted. I know that a lot of you are in similar positions. The South African job market is an increasingly small one. There are more and more jobs being shed as our economy does not grow enough. And with that, you're going to see the culture in corporates and workplaces starting to shift as there's less jobs to go around and more people after them. So you're going to see that toxic culture start to build in certain organizations, and it's going to be harder to find work that you actually like. In this environment, it becomes important for you to own your power by perhaps considering starting your own thing if that is something that has been on your mind for a while. So it was on my mind for many years before I finally did it. And now I run a small communications agency, Explain Agency. I hire a couple of people. We have accounts with Old Mutual, Sanlam. We've worked for MultiChoice. We have a contract at the moment with the UN. And it started very small. It started with me taking that first step to leave my job. But before I left my job, before you just go off and quit, have a plan. So what I did was I first worked on it on the side for a while. So make it your side hustle. And then what I also did was save. I saved money so that I would have at least a year to pay myself a salary if things didn't work out. That also meant taking a salary cut. I was in a highly paid job at the time and I couldn't afford to pay myself that. But I saved a big chunk of that every month until I had enough. I also applied for startup grant funding. There's a lot of money out there internationally as well if you keep your ear to the ground. A good ratio to remember is that you get 1 in every 10 opportunities you apply for, and I still use that in my sales today. So to apply for as many things as you can and rejoice with every no that you get because it's getting you closer to your yes. So save up as much as you can, cut your budget as much as you can, and then go off and start your idea, and know that you shouldn't be tied to one idea. You start off with an idea and you keep pivoting until you hit something that works. And what do I mean by works? It's not that the product is beautiful or you think it's great, it's that people want it. The most important thing in any service you provide, any product that you sell, is that there's a market for it. And that's what I had to learn being a businesswoman for the first time after having been a salaried employee my whole life, was that the only thing that matters is if you are actually selling a product that people want to buy and there's money in your bank account to pay yourself and your employees. So top tips: plan, start it on the side for a while, develop it for a little bit, start saving, and then make the jump with a clear plan, and also keep your eye on the ground for funding opportunities. And I'm talking about free money here. Don't give away any equity if you don't have to in the beginning, and no one's going to really want to buy in at this point since you haven't built anything yet. And start researching who is funding startups. You get lots of grant funding for certain industries. Mine was journalism, so there was some interest in funding that kind of thing. But a lot of industries that are just there to provide employment would be funded. There are government entities that are on the DTI's website that you can check that would fund many different kinds of businesses as they're starting up. So as I started off saying, the economy is in a tough space. The global economy is in a tough space with Trump's tariff madness. And it's time for us to own our power as women and also to create more humane working environments and start showing how we can create a more woman-centered, more compassionate work style for both ourselves and for the teams we end up employing. Good luck.